guys, it's Barb with Inspire Me 360, and today I want to talk a little bit about how to know and how to find your purpose. So obviously, owning colleges, being a teacher for many years, I deal with a lot of different individuals in discussions with and about finding one's purpose or figuring out what you want to do with your life. I mean, this is a question that everybody has. Am I on the right track? Am I doing the right things? Am I wasting my time in going this direction or that direction? And so essentially, I mean, it's a pretty good question to ask. How are we spending our time here? So I'm going to kind of answer it, or this question, from sort of a more 3D perspective, and then also sort of the spiritual perspective of things. I'm going to start off actually with the more spiritual perspective, just in case people want to zip through this video. And essentially, if you can remember, if we can all remember that we have come here to learn. We've come here to learn and grow, and there's a multitude of lessons that we end up going through and working through while we are here in our human incarnation. And this is really powerful when we can put it into this perspective, because again, we talk about timelines and we talk about personal timelines. A lot of times, especially when I'm working with students, is that people can feel like they aren't far enough along in their lives. They compare themselves to other people. There's a million reasons why we can add up everything within our lives and come to some conclusion that maybe we don't feel good enough about where we are at or what we've done. And I would say that that's, in a lot of ways inaccurate, because yes, there is the 3D perspective of we want a house, we want a car, we want to be able to, have those materialistic versions of success. But true success is also about having that, or building your character and building your faith and your kindness and your talents. So it's not just about, the car you drive or the house you're living in. And I think that so much of the spiritual path, especially in the modern era, has kind of taken a back seat. And we're, you see this, there's definite waves of, mental illness, waves of instability, broken homes, all of these different things. When we think less about our spirit, we think less about successes in terms of our character and more about just the three-dimensional material wealth-based markers of success. And I have had the privilege to be around many, many really wealthy individuals, and I have not seen a specific direct correlation between extreme wealth and happiness. A lot of people that are extremely wealthy are not happy. Not that I'm saying that all of them aren't, but a lot of times what happens when we are imbalanced in terms of setting up our life, we have all of this forward momentum towards all of the material things, clothes, money, cars, homes, all of these different, aspects of what we deem is the lifestyle of the rich and famous. But that takes a tremendous amount of energy to be able to accumulate all of this stuff. And if that's all you are investing into, so if you're putting 99% of your energy output into the collection of all of these things, then in the infrastructural balance of your life, you're leaving out all these other beautiful areas that are in balance. So, working on the things that make you happy, your talents, whether it's music, art, dance, sports, whatever it is. If you are not paying attention to those things that fill your soul, you are not balanced and you're really not progressing in a positive way, okay? Then there's the aspect of relationship, community. So putting your attention into the people that feed your heart and soul. If you are forgoing all of these beautiful relationships just to make money, in terms of your purpose, you may be creating a tremendous amount of wealth or companies or whatever it is over here in the material side, but you really are not helping humanity in terms of giving your kindness or bridging together communities, because that's a powerful part of what we're here to do on planet Earth is connecting with others, and connecting with others not just on a superficial level. So we're not just supposed to be going out taking selfies, sitting there on our iPhones. We are supposed to be making connections with others, having deep conversations, genuinely caring about each other. And a lot of times in our modern era, because information moves so quickly and the expectations for us to be, again, very present because of smartphones, because of iPads and computers, we don't take this time to really genuinely connect. And what I see with a lot of people is this connection will be formed. So you'll be having a conversation with another person, and you'll be really zoning into their energy, and then something will bing on your phone or something will call your attention away. Well, what happens in terms of the human heart and the heart space sharing that happens between two individuals is when your attention is diverted, all of a sudden that connection is broken, and that energy transfer is now also broken. That sort of live stream heart energy that you're sending to another person is now going towards your device. And this is what I believe is, one of the main mechanisms behind such a pervasive amount of loneliness in our society, and depression and anxiety, is this lack of interconnection. Because again, being connected is one of the most beautiful experiences you can ever have, and it is free. So interconnection doesn't cost anything when it's true and real. And if you are paying for interconnection, then really it isn't valid anyways. You're paying for that service, so that person really isn't there in an authentic way. Okay, so this kind of goes back to my discussion on purpose and why we're here. How do you find your purpose as you're moving through these questions in your life? How do you really drill down to that sort of source code where you figure out that blueprint for your life? And I was having a discussion the other day again with another beautiful young lady, and I wanted her to really understand that there is no one path. You're going to take a path and you kind of jut out in this direction, and then you'll jut out in that direction, and you'll find what you like and you'll find what you don't like, and then you kind of recalibrate, adjust, and then you go in another direction. And this is something that's going to happen most of your life if you are a lifelong learner. And what we're doing every time we recalibrate and we learn a little bit more about ourselves is we fine-tune the path for our purpose. And we are gathering, so along the path of experience, we're gathering all of this information about how to best utilize what we are to bring forth that energy to help others. And if you're not on a path that is authentically geared, or if your compass isn't authentically pointing towards helping planet Earth and helping others, then you're probably likely not on purpose. Usually being on purpose means extending the gifts that you have, the divine gifts that you were given, forward so that you can make the world a better and a more beautiful place. And generally, if you're tethering your purpose specifically to money, so if you're out there saying, okay, well, I need to get up today because I want to make that $5,000-$10,000 a day, or you have this monetary goal in mind, but you have not infused it with any spiritual wisdom or any heart-centered goal, it's going to flatline. It's going to take you into dangerous territory. And I'm not saying that going down that path doesn't also have learning and won't yield lessons, because of course that is the mechanism of free will. This is why we are allowed to test out these different routes, is that you go down this pathway, you learn everything that's along that lane. of the journey, and then you observe, you experience, you say, okay, what about this highly materialistic lifestyle? How does it serve me? Does it make me feel good? Do I feel fulfilled? Am I feeling that my soul is brimming with joy by gathering all of this material wealth? Or do you end up staring at all of it and kind of say, okay, my cars, my homes, my jewelry, my clothes, my shoes, my bags, they actually don't reflect any of this beautiful heart-centered energy. And actually, I feel the very best when I'm visiting my grandma over here, or when I'm out with this friend and we're connecting, and those two things are completely free. They don't cost anything. So maybe putting all of my attention into this basket over here is not on purpose. Okay? So again, we don't go through this journey of learning to beat up on ourselves. We don't go down a certain path just to be in observation of it and then say, okay, I'm a schmuck. I did it all wrong. That's not what I'm saying here. We go down this pathway and say, okay, this was a path. I took it, and I'm not sure that I like it over here, on this side of the hill. So I'm gonna trek back. I'm gonna do another intersection, but now I have this arsenal of new information about what it means to be on purpose, and I'm gonna trudge back over another hill. And now when I'm at the top and I'm looking down over the landscape of my life and I'm doing some real soul searching, which direction am I going to go now? And now I have, again, all of these additional pieces to try to decipher where my next turn is. And that's a really good place to be. And then as things unfold, you're going to go down another pathway with a little bit more information about who and what you are and what you like and what's I guess what ignites your soul and what your passion is. And then you're going to utilize those tools and maneuver around another corner. And this is what it means to be on purpose. It means that we are constantly circling back towards ourselves with a good amount of self-observation at the landscape of our lives. And we're sitting there in discernment and we're saying, okay, what direction do I want to go in next? And that, again, is purposeful. So it really doesn't matter, and I hopefully I won't offend any parents out there, but again, I was having this discussion with a student. It doesn't intrinsically matter if you are off to university right out of high school. Maybe it's better for you to go traveling a little bit, to see the world, to become worldly and understand how to maneuver and mingle with people. Because you can have somebody that goes straight into university that has no street skills and no life skills, and they look great on paper, they're academic, and I'm not against academia, because again, I went to university, I love studying, I own colleges, so I'm not against higher learning and higher education, but we also have to look at the value of life experience as well. And you may end up in a conference with two people, one that decided to go traveling and was a world traveler before they got into their university studies, and then you have this other individual over here that went directly into university, maybe because it was expected in their family, and so therefore they did it. But then you put those two people in terms of a networking event, and the person that is worldly and the person that had those other skills that they gained from that travel wows the crowd or gathers more business cards or whatever it is. So you never want to say that the only way to success is the way that essentially society is pushing on you. You want to look at the validity and the beauty of a multitude of experiences. And again, remember, it is so much about balance. We don't want to be a workaholic. We don't want to be overly materialistic. We don't want to be so self-sacrificing that we never bring forth joy for our own experience. So all of these different things have to be factored into us really living on purpose. And then I'm going to add another layer to this, and that is we are all on our own timelines. So comparing yourself at any stage of the game to others in terms of a personal timeline, is just going to diminish your energy, okay? When we start doing this comparative analysis and say, well, you know, this person is here and that person is there, there's always different factors, okay? Maybe that person that is, you know, in university right out of high school, maybe their parents just handed them a $50,000 check, and you don't come from a family where there was money for university, so you have to hit the road and, you know, do some work before you can get yourself into university. But then think of all the awesome skills that you're gaining when you're out in the workforce that that person may not have. So I'm not saying that it's right that somebody's university gets paid for and somebody's doesn't, or wrong. It's just two different life paths. And what we have to understand, or the individual has to understand, is that there is beauty in both paths. Both individuals will come out unique to their life path. And so you've just got to stop doing the comparison, because you being on purpose is a very solo journey. You have to be on purpose for yourself. Another thing that I'm going to add about being on purpose is that when you are living your soul's goal, your master plan, one thing that you're going to find that will happen is you're going to have almost unlimited energy in which to do the things you're passionate about, okay? When you are really in love with what you're doing. And I found this specifically in my past when I was working, you know, doing artwork projects. I absolutely love sculpting. I absolutely love painting. And I can literally get lost in art for hours. I can be up till 2, 3 in the morning and just be creating. And I have unlimited energy. I don't need a coffee. I don't need anything else infusing my body, because it's a different kind of energy. The energy is coming and feeding through my soul. It is my soul bringing forth something that it wants to create. So therefore, it's like you get this extra reserve of energy. And then you'll find when you're kind of living not on purpose or not in perfect alignment with your true soul's core desire, you'll get tired. When you're doing the tasks, they'll feel mundane. You won't feel this energized kind of extra oomph of energy when you are a little bit off track. And so here's a caveat to this. Sometimes you've got to dig your ditches before you find that groove where you can really authentically live your soul's path. This means, what I mean by this is that even myself, I have to do a lot of heavy administrative work with owning my businesses. I've done so, you know, for over 20 years. These are not the things that light my soul on fire. However, I do understand that to get to my end destination, to be able to write the books I want to write and live the life I want to lead, I have to create an infrastructure. So I essentially have to dig some ditches to get to that arena or that vantage point where life unfolds for me in the way that I want it to. And there is pride in that. If it was just given to me, handed to me, if things just came super easy, once you get to that destination, you wouldn't fight so hard for your dreams. But if you've already put in the legwork and you've put in the really hard hours, right? Once you do get into that zone where you just love doing what you're doing, not only will you have a great kind of benchmark to say, oh my God, okay, now I'm writing about things I really want to write about. I'm really hungry to write about, instead of, you know, boring textbooks that were a little bit mundane. It flows better. But because you created the infrastructure previously and you did your ditch digging, you're prepared. You're very well prepared for your dream to unfold. And that's also how the universe works. If you have this dream, the universe is going to be subtly and steadily preparing you for the dream that you are maneuvering towards. And that's why, again, it's so important to always be asking yourself, what is my purpose? Why am I here? What I guess lights my soul on fire? You've got to ask those questions each and every day. You've got to be circling back to that, because that is the momentum that creates an incredibly dynamic living experience. And that's really the wellspring of what's going to bring up joy and happiness for you. Okay, so I'm going to finish up this video. Essentially, again, when it comes to purpose, do those deep dives, ask yourself those questions. Don't be over judgmental with yourself or with others. Know that life is this sort of zigzag recalibration process. Impart a lot of self-love, because this journey isn't easy, okay? It's not easy to maneuver through all of the aspects of life. And if you've gone really far off your course, then you've learned a ton of stuff in this diversion off of your true, authentic path. Circle back, bring yourself back around, and get back on purpose. And if it takes a little time to get back on purpose, and it means that you really have to read some self-help books, watch some podcasts, really start to get in tune with who you were when you first came to planet Earth, what are your talents, what are your goals, what are the things that you love, then take the time to do that. It'll be well worth it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I am going to end my day and get out there and walk my beautiful little dog Riley. But again, we will see you in one of the next videos.